All right, what is up, everybody? How are you all doing? Apologies for the wait. I know we went a little bit over, but we are here now, and we're casting the very first match of the day number 3 for play-in stages, and this is the Rapper Day. We got Africa versus Belgium, and in terms of the playoff implications, Africa are 0-1 to start off. They lost to Mexico in their first outing, but they still have a chance to move on to the group stage as long as they can defeat Belgium and Italy in their next outing. Belgium are already 0-2, but in this case, they are playing for pride here. And going straight into the lineups for Belgium, we got Oli Frey, the M, Light, Sora, and Loaf. So right away, looking at Belgium here, they are missing out on... they did sub in the M for DOS. That's one thing to look at here. I know the M used to be he used to be a Tasser back in the day, but I'm not sure how that's going to translate into competitive Mario Kart. And same roster otherwise. You got Loaf bagging again, and he did a decent job yesterday. I know he's a fairly new bagger, but we saw a couple of new baggers kind of struggle a little bit, like for example Zorro against Finland in the first day, and then we had a couple other baggers that were fairly new, but Loaf did a decent job yesterday from what I saw.
Yeah, I thought Loaf did a great job. He kept up, all things considered. I think it's like the context of having just picked up bagging within the last 2 weeks. And performing against people who just have a significant amount of experience, he did well enough. And I think I'm really excited to see how this turns out. Africa, this is like the start of Africa's dream run right now, because they need to beat Belgium. They need to beat Belgium right now, and then go on to beat Italy after this, which is a bit of a Italy is their last match of the day. So, it's going to be a tough day, but this is the first step in the journey. Who stands out to you on the Africa lineup? I think I saw Zuzu.
I'd say Zuzu, yeah. In terms of running, I'd say Zuzu, but Monies is not too far off in terms of skill level. I think Monies and Zuzu kind of complement each other pretty well, and they're a good duo. And it's kind of the same story that we see with Belgium. I mean, we see Oli Frey and Sora as a duo here. And then I don't have too much intel on Nemo and Freud, though. I know yesterday they played against Mexico, and I'm trying to pull up the table real quick, actually.
Yeah, it's funny because as far as results goes, Africa is the only team that's only played one match so far. So we only have that one table to look at. And it was their relatively close war with Mexico, especially if the troll pen hadn't happened, it was a war that was only lost by 40 points. And then Mexico proceeded to perform really, really well against Belgium right after that.
For sure. And both sides are kind of similar in skill level, and similar in the sense that they have a duo and they have a couple other runners that are kind of fairly new to the game, I'd say. The M has been around for a bit. He's just a Tasser, though. He's kind of been thrown into the Sharks recently in terms of competitive. But it'll be interesting to see how both of those backup runners do. I feel like we're gonna have to look at them as the main factors here. We're gonna have to look at Nemo and Freud for Africa, and then we're gonna have to look at the M and who was their Belgium's last runner? I couldn't catch it. It was Light.
Yeah, Light, because DOS got subbed out.
I think Light struggled yesterday for both matches. He started off very strongly against Italy, in the first GP, but he wasn't able to maintain it after that. So we'll see if Light can bounce back in terms of Belgium's side. And I also forgot to mention for Belgium, they're not playing Jeff again. I don't know if Jeff is not available, but I think Jeff would have been a decent piece for them. While not a super strong runner, I think he has the experience and he's decent enough to play in this side.
I think he was kind of the third link in their lineup in a lot of ways, and it is unfortunate to see that he's just been unable to compete. He's just kind of, not around, I suppose. I think I saw something about Alifre like getting in contact with him, but him not being able to play. And you know, when all your matches, like all your first matches for this first stage are on this one weekend, like maybe it was just a bad time for him. But unfortunately, you know, with how it's gone so far, you know, Belgium are kind of, you know, this one is just for fun at this point.
Right, just play for pride here.
And
we are actually starting up here, so RBC to start, and let's just see how well Monies can fend off Olifere. But Sora gets the draft right away, so he's going to be able to dictate the pace early on, especially with these triple greens.
This is interesting. So on the side of we're just flipping, you know, we get a little information from two perspectives as we switch between, you know, two back and forth for you guys. Monies was forced into his bill. This is gonna be an early lap 1 dodge out of him, and Sora's just gonna do whatever he can to like hang on to a spot with Olifere kind of to the back and mid pack.
Yeah,
he's now to like 6th place with his 5th place with this golden, and he, you know, is going to do whatever he can to get back to the front. I think from what we saw yesterday, Belgium's points are pretty built around how well Sora and Alifre can perform. So, you know, as soon as Alifre gets knocked to a bottom spot, he kind of needs to find his way back up there right away.
And right now I'm actually at 108, so I may be behind.
Oh, geez. Oh.
Yeah.
My bad. I don't know why that is a ridiculous gap.
You can take the raid for now.
Well, I mean, for how things are going at the moment, I think we're just you know, we're a little further along in the race than I expected. Alifre finding himself in 2nd place. He's still the kind of like standout runner on the Belgium side.
Yeah, he was able to grind his way back up and break some of the top spots, and we also saw Light dodging up in a bill not too long ago. So this is looking very good for Belgium.
This is I think the M is in 1st.
It's actually Light, but yeah, he dodged up in a bill there.
Oh, nice. So this is a Belgium top 3 that they're gonna just, you know, take away, you know, hopefully to the end. This is so interesting because the shock came out lap 1, and you know, there's still plenty of time for another, but it's like it is almost surprising to see a lap 1 shock play come out and then it just hold true for the rest of the race.
Right, even if you're falling really far behind, lap 1 shocks generally are not the play, unless, I mean, you can be in 10th, of course, so I think that might have been what the case was for Africa, but then Loaf ended up pulling a shock right after, so I think, yeah. So, yeah, right now I think it looks to me like Loaf is the peach. I'm assuming he's trying to chain the boxes. I think I'm not sure who's in 10th, but assuming that Africa used the first shock, I'm assuming that Loaf is in 9th. But still a very good race for Belgium. There, no late shock coming in. Yeah, in the beginning, I thought it was going to be a. I mean, we saw Sora drafting up in the beginning there, and he was able to maintain his frontal presence for the most of the race there. And I thought at first Africa were going to be able to pull it back there with Olifere inadvertently sniping himself, and with the shock lap 1 too, even though it was kind of early. But Loaf ended up pulling that 2nd one and Light dodging in a bill there, and that was pretty much curtains for lap 3. It's a very runnable track. As soon as you can get up to top spots, you can back spam and you can be able to just solidify frontal presence in that respect. So good start for Belgium there. And Aiden's just setting up right now. So basically what we were supposed to do essentially is we open up VLC Media Player, and then we put a link in there, like endgame.tv/live/IRIC.
I was looking at the wrong stream. We can just say it. It's been a rocky morning on the West Coast. This is the Mario Kart World Cup, and I'm just a small part of that world. I'm on the Pacific time zone, and it's early over here. Dude, my alarm clock lets me talk to it in 2020, which is just a disaster waiting to happen. Because I told it to shut off in my sleep, but now here we are.
I know the feeling, dude. Yeah, I woke up at like I put my alarm for 7, and then I'm like, I want to sleep until 7:45, and I'll eat breakfast after.
Exactly. So
Man.
we're getting to Peach Gardens, dude. I'll say it. I hate this track. This is one of my least favorite tracks in the game, and I see it everywhere. Why do teams pick this track? Why do people like it?
Well, I mean, if you pull the triple shrooms in like 4th or 5th, you're on cloud 9 already. And let's see if that's going to be the case for either of these teams. Looks like nobody pulls shrooms in the top 5 spots. A little surprising there. We saw Sora taking it in 6th. He's coming up. But Africa's still having some of those mid spots.
Money's trying to do his best to get Alifre out of first. We might just, our 2 streamers are just going to swap places, and then Alifre falling a little further behind than that. Is that? I think this is Africa top 4 right now. It
looks to me like the top 3, yeah. It also looks like Yazid pulled a bill in 10th at 30, so he hit the chain chomps, and now Loaf is winning out on the bagging battle here. So this is looking very good for Belgium in order to change the spots around. You don't have to use a lap 2 shock in Gardens, but I mean, it could be ideal if you're in 10th, because shrooms in top spots for Africa, but they didn't actually have shrooms in that case, so they're not breaking away. Light did have a golden, so he's breaking the plane here.
Oh, did Nemo just go for a ridiculous fib snipe? Is that what that was? No, never mind.
No,
it was just on. It was just on. There was a weird like fib thing on Money's
Nemo using his mega early on there. I would have liked to see Nemo hold the mega actually until cut lap 3, even if you don't predict the shock. I mean, it still gives the possibility of doing so, just in case that Belgium don't see him in a second using the mega.
Yeah, that is interesting. An interesting prediction. There's
a shot coming in for Belgium. And it was a POW that I didn't actually spot it, but it was a POW forcing Nemo out of the mega there, so apologies for that. Belgium's coming up here, but Africa's still occupying top 2.
That actually does get them a nice top 2. They've just been in top spots this entire race. This is pretty crazy. This is it's just like looking a lot like cleaner and like more put together than yesterday for sure. I think they were definitely struggling and kind of finding their footing in their first match.
This is a key exchange. Money may back on the line here. Backs early on though, almost connects on Nemo, but I would assume he just called that out. But still good race for Africa.
Yeah, is that top 2 and then 4-5?
Top 2, 4. I'm not sure about 5th though, but regardless, it's still going to be at least a like a plus 13 minimum.
Yeah, that's a fantastic response to the first like really good Belgium race. Already surprisingly close. I think like but I think we were kind of talking about it at the end of the cast yesterday, because Mexico had lost their initial match to Italy. We kind of predicted that they would not do particularly well against Belgium, but they ended up dominating them, and then it made everyone kind of rethink their result against Africa and think about like, oh, how is Africa gonna perform in like the rest of the matches? It completely swung I think like general opinion about how they were gonna do.
Right, and generally like viewer opinions can be a little fickle inadvertently, because Mexico are a solid team, and they have played together, a few of them, with the likes of Axe. But it was just mainly individual mistakes that were made, notably Jose, when he was being casted, kind of had those stream nerves and made some mistakes. But Mexico are a solid team on their day, and they showed that against Belgium. But BC Week coming out here, top 2, 4, 5 coming out from Africa, and apparently that was a shock from Africa in Peach Gardens. Both their top 2 burning out, though. That's not what you want.
This is the contrast to Peach Gardens. This is one of my favorite tracks in the game. Really great track pick from Africa's side.
It's a very runnable track, like especially if you're in first. It's just, if you have good lines here, you're breaking away unless someone takes glitch.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know of anyone who is like particularly notable on the track on the African team, but I think in general this is just something where if you're playing competitive Mario Kart, you have to be at like that level to be able to run this track.
I like the determination from Monies to try to break the top spots there, but it's not. It's kind of like a low risk thing, even though it is glitch. It is risky in general, but. He's in bottom 3 in lap 1 with the star. You might as well go for it because if you fall behind, you can catch up easily. And we saw Loaf initially failing the backwards trap, but then Zuzu, I'm not sure what happened to him. He like partially failed and then also went for Hawk Strat and failed. So Loaf is winning out now, and we're switching over to Oli Frey. Almost clips the wall in that instance, but still able to keep his first.
I do think the bagging on this course, particularly the Hawk Strat, is really, really interesting because it's this kind of like game theory scenario of, well, it's faster if I go for the worst option and my opponent is going for Hawk Strat and fails it. But then if you want to get ahead, you also have to risk going for Hawk Strat.
Right.
And it becomes this like battle of like betting on how good the other bagger is. It's I don't know, I find that really interesting.
And somehow, yeah, Loaf like I said, somehow was able to recover and get in 10th, and he got the first box in 10th and got shocked, so he's running away with the shock right now. Belgium with the top 3 especially, they're going to be able to hold on to this, even with a couple of blues coming out of Holy Freight. They'll still be okay. Actually, no. The Daisy, was that Zuzu, not Loaf?
Yeah, I think it was Zuzu and
Frege, yeah, Frege is the runner here for Africa coming up. We only saw Zuzu dodging in a star. I meant to say Yazid, sorry, bagging, not Zuzu.
I think it did only get him into second though, and Monies just does it.
Very important glitch.
Wow, it's gonna mitigate. It's kind of one of those things where it's just gonna kind of mitigate damage. I don't think there's much you can do to stop this top 2. The pack was like too split and broken up by the time they ended up using the shock, because you saw Zuzu like caught up but just did not get to the front because it was all Belgium's top 3 pretty spread out, and
right.
They're finding themselves in it. They basically turned an awful race into a kind of okay race.
Indeed. Yeah, so I initially confused the Peach there. I thought for some reason Peach was Loaf, but it was Yazid bagging, and I also said Zuzu instead of Yazid. Correct me for all those mistakes there.
It's rough, man. The French tags have always given me a run for my money. This is I think most of these guys are dual citizens with France, as far as I understand. So it's people were joking about how this is the France B team, but except for Monies.
Monies is Portuguese.
And himself was born and raised in Cape Verde, which is like an island nation off the coast of Spain, and considered part of Africa. Fun fact: I learned that for this World Cup.
So yeah, it's kind of like the Puerto Rico U.S. territory situation, but then they ended up putting Mike and Jorge in LTA regardless. It's kind of a tricky situation there.
I think this is shaping up to be so much closer than I expected. Honestly, I'm happy.
I mean, don't sleep on Africa.
Yeah, I totally was. That is my mistake. Zuzu's actually always. I don't know. There's so many things to think about in that last race. Like Zuzu has consistently scored and placed in the top spot across the 2 wars that I've seen. He's really quite good. And then Money's just going for he was going for a glitch at the end that, overall had such little consequence. That's why I'm impressed by it. It's like he's in 4th.
He went for laps 1 and 2, but then made it on the run back lap 3. Generally, if you miss like Ultra, or if you miss a glitch, or BC3 Ultra, or BC Week glitch, like the first 2 times, usually you tend not to run it back the 3rd time. But it was good resilience there for Money to be able to go there for the 3rd time. In this particular track, though, MG, we'll see what happens. The shock, it does matter in terms of TSing, but generally it's all about the shrooms, and let's see which team gets the lion's share of it.
This track is very, very interesting. I think it's like this massive track that is essentially one giant TS spot. but it also at the same time allows you to like break away enough to mitigate it and to make it not matter. I think like Olifre has one of those shrooms in his corner right now, and this might be his chance to get into first and kind of leave the rest of the pack behind.
The story so far, in terms of the bagging battle, it's been all Yazid, and I did say it was low with the Peach, but Yazid has been able to outbag thus far besides race 1. But money's almost failing the gap there. But boy, Fergus Greens. Top 4, I think, for Belgium now. Or either that or 2, 3, 4, 5, actually.
What do you think you do with this POW right now on this particular track?
The only person you can target POW in this case, if your monies is, I mean, you can target POW the 2, 3, 4, 5 and get first in the air. That's actually exactly what they do.
Bomb's a little more reasonable. Might be able to get a few people on the shrooms here. Hail Mary.
Bit of a sketchy one, yeah.
We briefly switched to Olifre's perspective.
He chained into a golden. Nemo taking rock, passing Sora. Money's making rock, getting into third. 1, 3, 5, I think, for Africa. That was very good. Good clutch out.
This is pretty wild. They managed to turn that race into something decent at the end. What a golden pole! That definitely a little lucky, but you got to take it where it comes.
Indeed. Yeah, and that was actually a good target POW. In that case, Monies could have target POW'd second if they didn't slow down, but in that case, the spots are very structured for Belgium, so it ended up getting Sora in the air though. That's the thing, but everyone else got target POW'd in the mid spots. 1, 3, 5, yeah, like I said, very good race for Africa.
This is a great first GP for them. Belgium are just gonna have to kind of like reset and gather. I also do wonder if like at this point, like if you're Belgium and you're not really playing to make it out anymore, are you just kind of playing the game to play the game? And it doesn't really matter about
especially since you're being casted. You don't want to just drop a bunch of points, and you don't want to embarrass yourself in front of the hundreds and hundreds of viewers. I was thinking of The Rock, the millions and millions.
We're not quite at that level yet, you know. We're getting closer, 200. You know, that's pretty big.
Maybe someday. Maybe someday.
I think the score after race 4 though is 123 to 121, I believe.
This is what you need. This is what you want if you're a viewer. Most of these matches have been blowouts. I mean, for the most part, you did have a couple of matches that were close until like GP3, where a team just completely destroyed. This is what you want. Hopefully, we can continue this momentum, and we'll go from there. Yeah.
This is pretty ridiculous. Like, I wonder if Africa can do it today. Like, what if they just beat Italy? That would be that would be absolutely the story of play-ins, is Africa going 2-1 and taking arguably the 2 best teams in their group.
I'd love to see it. And Italy, I mean, here's the thing though. Italy are such a strong team together. They have lots of cohesion, lots of chemistry amongst each other, and of course you have most of the teams in the play-in stage have a good duo. You have a good duo in Sal and I'd say Alex ITA, but they have a very little skill gap amongst the other 2 runners as well. And then Dugo's such an insane pack player, so it's going to be hard to beat them, but we'll see. I mean, Africa do have the tools. Yazid is not a bad bagger from what I've seen in the past, and so far he's been able to do a decent job against Loaf, but we'll see how well he can keep that up. We see Money's in first the fib here, backs it right away, doesn't connect.
I wonder, Money's might just slip away here on this track in particular. You know, he definitely just wants to break. Olifre closing in behind him though. This is, you know, the contenders on both teams contending for this.
In this case, if you're Monies, I like that you want to get Olifre out of there as fast as you can because he's a solid runner. But in that case, Monies has no other protection. He did leave himself vulnerable to a red. Olifre didn't have a red, but ended up drafting Monies in the end due to eventually catching up and taking good lines. So Olifre now in first.
Yeah, swap positions. This is a nice race because we might get to watch our two perspectives just kind of go back and forth depending on how the rest of the race impacts them.
Yeah, Yazid's gonna be able to hit a box or two in 10th before Loaf gets back. So we'll see if that plays a factor at all.
Yeah, this is a free. This is a pretty ridiculous track because of the cannon on it. You know, for those maybe newer to the game, or maybe those who only watch Mario Kart 8, when you're in a cannon in those games, you will fall still and reset onto the track. But in this game, you dodge the shock or the effective items.
Sora's off. Sora's off. Money's picked up that ground shroom and bumped Sora off, so that's going to be important for the rest of the race.
Oh, wow. So he's pretty much out of the picture. It's very, very difficult to catch up on this track from that distance behind.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting that Monies went for the ground star intentionally in second because Sora was behind him, so in case that Sora did catch up to him, Monies was going to star him. Shock coming in, did you catch whose that might have been? I think it might have been Africa's.
I'm not quite sure. I think it was Africa's as well.
It had to have been getting Money's last frame and a couple other after players in the mid spots, I believe.
Yeah, it seemed like it just benefited their team much more. So the Money with a huge break.
Yeah,
here.
but Olifre did get blued right after the cannon too, so that's going to be bad for them. Top two, still I think a 3-4 for Belgium, if I'm not mistaken here.
Yeah, this is okay. I think.
Oh no!
Oh, wait,
he gets up to the
first
ram.
Oh, wait. Was that still top three? That was still
top three.
Yep. I thought that might be a way, Olifre's way just back into the race, but top three nonetheless. Nothing to worry about.
Yeah, Freud was able to grind his way back up there. I think he might have pulled triple shrooms in maybe 5th or 6th and was able to shroom up all the way to 3rd there. So that was a good salvage for Freud individually, and because they were already top 2 going into the last few turns. Unfortunately for Monies, ends up over committing on the boost panel there, but still didn't lose out in terms of team spots.
What a fantastic start to the war, man. This is going really, really well for them. Getting 4, 5, 6, 8, 9.
Yeah, and it's been relatively back and forth, but so far in the last couple of races, it's been Yazid doing a very good job in the bagging, making sure that Africa get good races here, and it'll be interesting to see how Loaf bounces back. I think in this case, you don't want to indiff pick necessarily for a bagger, but I feel like if Loaf continues to be outbagged, I'd say just pick tracks that aren't too strat heavy. But BCW and MT are already out of the way. Those are two tech heavy bagging tracks. So
yeah, you kind of have to set your bagger up for success, and then also gamble a little bit that your team is the one that ends up getting the shock in your possession. I think just getting that and allowing their runners to just stay in their top spots rather than even dodging necessarily would be such a big help in their corner. Africa getting kind of shock after shock in this one.
And Moonview Highway, I don't know if it's the best top 3 track, but if you want to make the best out of it, just take the first 3 boxes on the right hand side, and 4th is going to be forced to either stay tight and try to contest with the top spots. I think 5th will get the wide box, but we'll see how well they can keep these top spots. Right away, Olifre getting in there though.
And Money's being bumped out. Just an unfortunate start. It can be a rough first turn with how many people head into it with the same line. And
Light drafted up and hit the car wide due to the draft there, so he wasn't able to break the plane. I think one of Zuzu hit the car, I think, there.
People were hitting cars left and right there. Money's basically just got to drive past an entire pack of people because they all hit something.
Yeah, so it's 1-3 now for Belgium.
We have our 2 heroes in top 2 once again. And Belgium with a sniper snipe?
That's the thing, when you want to align for a snipe, you don't want to be behind someone's tail for too long, because that's exactly what'll happen. Olifre backed them with the Nana before Monies was able to get that snipe off.
This is trying to find his way back up to the front of the pack, finding himself with 4 reds, but his teammate in front of him, and it's a little hard for him to Zuzu at this point to like slow down and concede space, because you're just giving an even larger break to the Belgium top two.
Yeah,
you just kind of have to hang on to the ledge.
And yeah, Zuzu, yeah, I don't know. Oh, because of the shock. Yeah, that's what happened. Nemo dodging up. Yeah, Yazid was able to win out in the bagging battle yet again in that case. So very important shot coming in now for Africa. Let's see how well Nemo can hold these hold first. He's actually in at first by quite a margin. So unfortunate red there onto Monies from, I think, Olifrey. But yeah, Monies. The only real thing he can do with this bomb now is try to snipe the M later on in the track, like on the last straight. But no, he's not gonna be able to do that because he forgot the car pattern, unfortunately.
Unfortunate. It can be a little ambiguous sometimes. Sometimes you're just in your own head and you forget, or it's a little late into the lap and you just don't quite remember what the later car pattern is. Unfortunate that it did not work out for him. He was in a tough situation. And I think that race is just a pretty solid race for Belgium. They kept their top spots the whole time, defended them really well.
It wasn't anything groundbreaking, but they got a lot behind first. I think in that case for Monies, I think in that situation he was already looking to try to snipe the M early on, even though it's not really that good of a spot to snipe in because it's very wide and there are cars coming at you every which way. But yeah, he was looking to snipe, but then he kind of just lost track of the car pattern. He just didn't really look at the screen for a second, and he just kind of ran into the car there.
That's actually wild, by the way. Nemo was the one who found himself in first by the end of that, but Belgium still locked down 2, 3, 4. And so a good race for Belgium, certainly, but not as good as I would have expected. Is it so? There were 2, 3, 4, and I think and Monies ended up finishing. It was 7th.
7th, yeah, and then Light BE Light. So 16-point lead here for Africa now. Still okay, but nothing too major. Of course, anything can happen in this game, especially in one race.
I think with the overall score right now, we have Africa 190 to Belgium's 176, up by just 14. It's certainly close. Africa not pulling away by any means.
There was it's 191 to 175 on the graphic.
Oh, I missed a bagger point, I believe.
You're chilling, no worry. So yeah, 16-point lead is not comfortable at all in this game.
Yeah, this is that's something that can easily swing with just one bad race, especially on a track like this, which tends to be a little more chaotic, a little more lucky, if you will. This is the type of track where it can swing so quickly. Money's finding himself in first. Interesting on this track. You can run this track here and there. The bomb barely getting out of the way of that. Ow.
Monies went wide to avoid the bomb, but the bomb traveled a little bit further than he thought, but barely able to avoid that. I mean, this track, even if Monies loses out on first, it's not a huge deal. I mean, it is runnable. That's if the teams in the mid spots don't pull shrooms, but it's more than likely to happen anyway. And we do see Light coming up again after, I think, falling behind slightly after lap 1, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like Monies is managing to create a little more space between him and Light, and takes him out on that.
It wasn't Light though. I think it might have been an Africa player. I'm not sure. It wasn't Light. That's all.
Okay, Light's still trailing behind him. You're right. I think whoever was in like 3rd or 4th at the time. I wonder. Oh, Light finding himself in first.
Light trimming up. Monies tried to recover from the POW, but ends up clipping the dirt right before the POW even happened, but still keeping second. Not going to affect them. Sora coming up in 5th. I think it's maybe like a 1-3-5 for Belgium or something along those lines. Interesting. I like the back spams from Monies. He backed a Nana on the U-turn section slightly wide and then a green really wide, but I think Light just went ultra tight there and he was able to avoid both back spams. So it was good work from Light actually to avoid all the back spams before shrooming up into first. We did see Light struggle at least from the first match, struggle with keeping his top spots, mainly hitting a lot of back spams. So Light kind of proving the doubters wrong in that case, getting first and trying to give Belgium some life here. And Belgium did get a good race there. So
Yeah, that was honestly pretty impressive because he sat behind Money's for almost the entire race and managed to just keep the spot without anything happening. And he basically held out until he got his second place shroom. So a good response from Belgium. The gap closer than ever. Just down by 3 points now.
This is it, guys. This is what you'd like to see at this stage. World Cup, you want to see a close match. Africa with all to play for here. Keep in mind that the tiebreaker, in case that they beat Belgium and Italy, the first tiebreaker is going to be record. But then in the case that Africa win both of their matches, all 3 teams in Africa's group will be tied 2-1. So the second tiebreaker will be overall plus minus. So Africa, even though they are, it's very close. Even if they win by a small margin, it's still not going to be enough. They're going to have to depend on big races starting now.
Yeah, that's true because that's a hard thing I think in the moment to take into account. You're probably just like seeking out the win in the first place. But if you're thinking about the long term, if you're thinking about making it to the group stage, you need to kind of take this win, but also run away with it a bit more. It needs to be by a large margin if you want to assure that you're going to be making it out. I'm interested to see.
I think he pulled the golden, so there he is, winning the bagging battle by quite a bit. And now I think Loaf is trying to chain a ninth, but hit the chain chomp, so doesn't have it yet.
Nice. Well, this is a Loaf. Oh, a blue already. That's too bad. With Belgium taking first, 1-3 now, and Africa in 2-4.
And we do see VM in first now. This is the first time I think that we've seen this individually in first. Let's see how well he can fend him off. We are going to see a back spam wide next to the tight fib there from Olifrey, but Monies was proactive of that, avoiding that. TC, though, I'd like to see a shock red here onto Olifrey if possible, if they have it. And there it is, shock coming in. Is he going to pass this TC? Not quite.
He really needed. He messed up the line that he was approaching him with because of the wood, and then it also gave a little extra time for Belgium to realign and like pull away when Monies tried to fix his approach.
Yeah, blue coming in though onto the M, I think.
Unfortunate. The Taz lines do not let you escape.
Good work there to avoid the bomb. Nemo is in first, gets the red on. No, doesn't quite get the red off. 1-4. What happened?
Wait, Olifrey hit something? He must have hit the piranha.
He hit the piranha, I think, after going for the low trick.
Either that or the red got him, because the red went past Sora to target him.
Was it the red?
I thought I saw the red break.
It was either the red or the piranha. I'll look back at that real quick. I'm not entirely sure.
I thought I saw the red break, and that's why I was confused. But the red did pass. It went past Sora, and then went.
It was the red. It was the red.
Okay.
Somehow. Yeah, Olifrey threw his red. That's a misplay from Olifrey, because Nemo was like virtually behind the line when Olifrey threw that red. Even he probably didn't expect that, because Sora was right behind him on his screen. But in that case, you just gotta keep your red. Of course, easier said than done, but
yeah,
you can't waste protection.
In the moment, rough to make that call, I suppose. But I think like it was just a weird scenario where like Olifrey like perhaps even thought he could like get the high trick on the ramp to make it all the way to the line and not get hit by it. I was surprised that was the case, because I didn't see the red make contact. I didn't see him flip up in the air, and then all of a sudden we're on the line, and he's still sitting way back there getting.
Yeah, I looked at the replay, and he was behind the piranha, like not behind him to a point where the piranha sent him back, but he was like right on the ramp essentially. So that was the red. So yeah. This war is crazy.
Money's going Daisy this GP. Nice to see someone that's switches between the two pretty well, I would say. Having competed against Monies before, Daisy is almost a norm for him. Like I was surprised it didn't come out earlier. I think that's knowing him, with the type of being a Daisy player, maybe that's why he just went into the BC Wii cut without thinking about it.
Yeah. So yeah, he is picking Daisy, which is fairly interesting because BC Wii is already chalked off, but BC3 is going to be the pick here. I think that's the sole reason as to why he's going Daisy. Wants to make sure that he can guarantee success with the BC3 Ultra, since Daisy does usually get a lot of airtime on that, in airtime in general.
Much easier time. Your alignment's a little more generous. You're a little lighter. You're just in the air for longer. But we're finding ourselves on Koopa Cape. How do you feel about this track, man? This is I feel like this track is actually very contentious.
This track in 1-3, it's decent because Monies can try to lag both boxes and try to prevent Olifray from getting one, but Monies, being a Daisy, kind of skinny there, only takes one box and fails the Shrimba.
That's an unfortunate start to the race.
Yeah.
So it's going well, and it's going in Africa's favor right now. But it could be those little mistakes that even if they manage to go even for the race.
And that's the problem with Daisy. He gets sent off pretty far.
That was an extraordinary bump. There was so much air for such a little interaction.
Yeah, and I think Monies in that case failed the Shroomba. It's a bit tricky. It's a little bit of a finicky throw, but what is it? Daisy, whenever she throws greens, she throws it from the side, kind of throws it diagonally. It's kind of a weird little mechanic there.
Yeah, but it is an alignment you just have to get used to. I imagine switching between the two characters is just, might trip you up on occasion. Finds himself with a Mega now, and he's just going to hang on to this for a while.
Right. But Belgium is really solid at running this track, though, especially Olifray. But we do see Soren first. I think Olifray's now in second, or third, actually. But still 1-3-4, I think, for 1-3-4-5 or something like that from Belgium. Something along those lines. The M's going to get TC'd, though, so this is a start. No, Zuzu's actually in fourth. So 1-3 for Belgium, 2-4 for 2-4-5 for Africa, I think.
Yeah, definitely looking like Belgium's race at the moment.
2-3 for Belgium.
The bomb, I think, I saw Zuzu throw something forward. I wasn't quite sure what it was. I didn't see an explosion. Oh, goes for the bomb site, unfortunately, lags through it, and he takes out his teammate. Very high risk.
Very high risk.
I kind of feel like the best scenario there was you had to communicate with your teammate to take a wide line, and then you try to get light, but he just went for it. It was such a...
Well, in a normal lag shield, I think that probably would have connected with light as well as Zuzu. But since... What?
The POW just sending him backwards on the wall. For those familiar, the physics in this game can be a little wacky at times, especially on curved walls like that. And Olifray just gets to walk away with, Belgium. Is that Belgium top 2, top 3?
I think that might have been, top 2. Top 2-4, I think, yeah. But yeah, we've seen weird physics like that before. And the POW kind of just made it so that he actually did a full-on backflip and then went backwards. That's kind of interesting to watch. But I was trying to say something before. I kind of forgot.
It was, around the placements at the end. We just watched the wacky POW wall play.
Yeah. I'll actually look back at the VOD to see what I was talking about because it was kind of an important topic. I'll try to pull it up.
So
go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's a nice response from Belgium. They're keeping it close. They're doing their best to keep themselves in this war. I think a big problem with their war against Italy yesterday, where they looked so sharp at the beginning, was in GP3. They kind of lost focus and let the other team run away with it a bit. But this is the opposite. This is a new Belgium today. And they seem a little more
revitalized.
Yeah, starting the comeback right now.
Yeah, so what I was saying about I was talking about the bomb that Money's threw on a normal lag shield. It probably would have connected right on top of light, but since it's all players from Belgium and all players from France in this case, Africa, but French players. And the lag shield's going to be a little iffy, right? So then usually you have to throw your items a little bit further ahead than normal in order for it to connect. And I feel like that was the situation there.
Yeah. It is an interesting component of the high-level game, accounting for things like lag shields. I think it's actually, in a weird way, I've come to love it. Unfortunate to see that even in a room full of European players, it applied so heavily in that situation.
Right.
But, the way it goes.
I think what I'm talking about is, like, a lot of times you're playing Emogi and you're playing from teams within the same country, right? Like a lot of American players playing Emogi together.
Yeah.
But in this case, they're all, like, both teams are from separate countries, right? So that's where the lag shield comes into play, I feel. And we are going to see RWS 234 coming out from Africa, but Olifre, very strong runner. I'm not going to see him lose first in this case. A blue will change it around, of course, but we'll see how well Olifre can backspam and potentially give himself more of a break. Doesn't connect on any backspams just yet.
Got that Mega in fourth. Such a high position to have this in. The bagger race looked pretty even. They were right next to each other.
And it's 50-50 in this case if you have a Mega. I'd say just hold this if you're monies, because you're only going to pass your team if you use a Mega, and you're not going to, like, be in a position to try to break first. So holding the Mega is the smart thing to do here.
Oh, unfortunate. Gets bumped just a little, and it puts him behind the Piranha Plant on the half-pipe section. He still finds himself in fourth, but he lost a little ground to Light, who takes his top spot from him. And Africa with, like, a lone representative, or no, Nemo and Froish.
It's 235 for Africa here. How come? Oh, Money's didn't even use the Mega there.
He tried to hop dodge on that section of the track, which is
no, that's too low. If that's the case, no, that's a misplay. If that was the case,
I imagine, like, he had to have been trying to do that. Like, that is.
And if it was, I'm saying if it was a misplay, because that's such a low hump. You're not going to be able to hop dodge that.
Unfortunate. Maybe Money's just, like, doesn't know that. I wouldn't have been going for the hop dodge in the first place, if I'm being honest. But I didn't know that either.
2-3 still. Nemo. Oh, I thought Nemo was going to get redded there, but he was able to somehow break that. I think maybe Zuzu was his protection there. I think the red might have connected onto Zuzu with his star. I think that's what broke the red. So 2, 3, 4, 6 for Africa in that case.
Not too bad of a race. They're basically doing whatever they can to stop, Belgium from catching up. This is they're pretty much keeping it at dead even, which is good. Not allowing Belgium to like break away in their lead at all. I think, like, Africa, that's a winning race, and they have a small lead, 1, 5, 7, 8, 9 on the side of Belgium.
I think it's +8, if I'm not mistaken, for Africa right now. So yeah, it's coming down to the wire, and if you're Africa here, you need a win. Absolutely need a win in order to have a chance to move on to the group stage, because of course they are 0-1 going into this, and of course they're gonna need some point differential as well, because in the case that they beat Belgium, and in the case they beat Italy too, which is a bit of a tough task, but they can do it. In case they beat both teams, they're gonna need to depend on the tiebreaker, which is gonna be overall plus-minus, because it'll be a 3-way tie between them, Mexico, and Italy in the case that they do win these 2 matches. So kind of sets up for a very interesting last 2 races here.
Yeah, this is wild. 8-point difference. Africa barely in the lead, and 2 races to go. Man, this is the closest war we've had across the entire event.
Right, and of course we have seen Yazid doing a very decent job so far in the bagging department. I'm not sure about the exact shot count total, but he's winning out by at least 4 to 5 shots. But yeah, Africa are going to have to dig deep here, only with an 8-point difference. Already starting off in top 3, they can dictate the pace a little bit, but Sora breaking it up early.
Wow, that was a clean 2 people taken out by both of the greens that he had. He tried to tack on a 3rd at the end. Didn't really need it to do any damage at that point. Money's going for gets bumped off.
Yeah, Sora failing the cut block there, but in that case, if you're Monies, you just gotta like align to a little bit more to the left there, because if you go all the way to the right, you're just bound to get bumped off in that case.
Yeah, that was really unfortunate. Not the way you want to start the race, and picking Daisy no less, which is, you know, supposed to be kind of an upgrade on this track, but opted not to go for Ultra and went for regular cut with Shroom instead, kind of gambling that Sora wouldn't be able to block it.
But it's still a bottom. Is this a bottom 3 for Africa? I think they are. I think they failed cut in last. Could be wrong. No, I think they are bottom 3. Yeah, so far. And Yazid does not have the shock yet. He fell off. So we'll see. I think, you know, I think Leaf actually, or Loaf actually. No, Loaf fell off. So still even.
Oh, going for Ultra now. Lines it up. Sends it. Doesn't quite make it. Falls a little short. Doesn't have the air that he needs.
And Monies will be disappointed if he gets last year, because this is the reason why he picked Daisy. This was the sole reason. But now he's just going to opt to go backward, trying to maybe wait until the other bagger comes at him. He can't really do anything from this scenario, honestly.
Yeah, this is wild. I guess
maybe drop a star
to not drive forward and drop a star.
Yeah, that's the only thing he can do in this case. Drop a star for his team.
And on the other side, on Belgium, we have Olafray just in first, cruising. Let's see if he tries to block the cut here. Maybe he'll tack on a fib.
That one's blocked.
That first one just wasn't good enough because it was just missed entirely. And he gets to kind of run away with this a bit, trying to backspam quite a bit. Africa in second place.
And Monies, yeah, still, but hey, the star drop is not going to be useful because Olafray's in first, and Olafray's going to pick it up regardless. So I think Monies is just waving the white flag in this case. Is this going to be a top 2? I'm not sure who was in second there.
Olafray was dropping a lot of backspam, and I didn't see anything make contact. So I'm thinking that it must have been Africa like that, but that was also probably their lone representative.
Right.
Because Africa was so far behind so early that I can't imagine they had any other top spots.
Yeah, so I think Monies, of course, he was very, very separated from the pack. But if your Monies there, I'd say just go for the Ultra one more time. Because if you make Ultra, even though you're still kind of far behind, you can pull triple Shrooms and then chain into a golden, and then chain into another golden, and you're right back in it.
Wow. Okay, so that race a little better than I expected. Africa managing to lock down 2-3 at the end, and then also 5th. So that definitely stops that from being the huge Belgium race that we wanted. Another very, very close race with Belgium closing the gap a tiny, tiny bit. They won that race by 1 point. And now going into last race, we have Belgium down by 7. This is so close. So keep in mind, this last race decides a lot because Africa needs to win to be able to make it out of groups. And if Belgium wins here, this just stops the dream really, really early. And then it's kind of when Italy plays Africa in that case, it becomes more a battle of like I think it's like if they lose, they tie for first, and then the consequences are just kind of gone. So Africa closing out and like winning here changes the landscape of the whole.
Yeah, and if you're Africa, you want a big race here. If I'm not mistaken, how much did they lose by to Mexico? It was like by 60. It was like 70 something.
I think it was. I want to say it ended up being like 79. It was like just short of 80.
Yeah, and they could beat Italy by. They would have to beat Italy by a fair margin in order to catch up. But we'll see what happens here. Just focus on winning first and foremost. If you're in Africa here, of course.
Yeah, I think with it this close and you having one race left at this point to like care that much about the margin you win by would just be greedy.
Right. So we are going to see Belgium top 2, but Monies is in position to break this up. He has the golden. He's going to be able to get up to first if he takes the Ultra cleanly. It'll be interesting to see if he goes for safe Ultra or he doesn't even. Oi! That was close.
But that Holy, that might have been the most unclean Golden Ultra I have ever seen.
And that could be the play of the game in the sense that if he had made the proper golden strat there, he would have been in first, possibly breaking the top spots. But now it's a 1-3 for Belgium. I couldn't quite see how Monies was able to sneak up in a second, but we'll see if he can maybe chain this, or he just take the cut here and then maybe go for Sandhoff and get closer to Olifrey.
Yeah, he pretty much needs to do like whatever he can to like close this gap because he seems to be his team's only spot right now.
Partially fails.
Okay, so Money still
fails the Sandhoff slightly, but not enough to a point where he slows down a lot. But Sora, what's going on with Sora?
Just
I don't know what he's doing.
Belgium.
Oh, he's trying to start the bagger, maybe?
Oh, yeah, might be trying to get shock out at the end.
But that's risky if you're Sora, I think, maybe.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know. Because now he lost his frontal presence, right? So that it's going to be Africa potentially getting some top mid spots here and securing the war.
This second place, yeah, and he's stopping, so Africa has to be, oh no.
I think maybe Belgium snuck into third there, but it's going to be 2-4-5 for Africa. Worst case scenario, so I think they clutched this out. And Sora, I mean, I understand the intention there. Trying to get the bagger, making sure that Africa don't dodge up, but Sora is in third in that case. I mean, I just, I don't know.
Yeah, it was just so high risk, because what are you playing for there?
I mean, a mega. Yeah, he had a mega probably, but he was in third. I don't think he had a star, but still.
Wow. Africa defeating Belgium and winning their first war of the playing stage. Meanwhile, Belgium's journey has come to a conclusion. They have unfortunately gone 0-3 in their group.
Yeah.
And a rough ride because they had a lot of close calls the whole way through. Like, this war was close. They had the most realistic chance of beating Italy. And then falling to Mexico yesterday as well. It just seemed like nothing quite went in their favor. I do know that Belgium was a team that did not practice together very much beforehand. So that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, and apparently Sora failed in the first pillar trick. That it wasn't him trying to mega the bagger. Yeah, I thought at first I thought he was starring the bagger. Of course, having a star in third equals you're hacking. But yeah, I thought because he was going for it looked like he was going for the bagger after failing. But I mean, he did fail. He went all the way to the left of the sand and lost a lot of time. That was, I think, the moment in which completely destroyed Belgium's hopes of winning that and keeping Africa's hopes alive of moving on to the group stage.
And we have a final score in Africa defeating Belgium 373 to 359. That's got to feel good on their end. What a way to set the day. This match was so much more exciting than I expected it to be, and to win, they come out with a win by 14 points, and they're starting their journey of getting out of groups. One more team that they need to defeat, Italy, which is going to be a bit of a taller task, but doable nonetheless, especially after watching that war. It seemed like Africa played really, really well. And Yazid, in particular, was very, very good at getting shocked throughout that war. It's
absolutely doable, yeah. But I'm trying to think, now we got to look at Mexico and Italy's overall. It is the tiebreaker overall plus minus or head-to-head plus minus among the three teams that tied?
Oh, when we get to if we have a three-way tie, it's point differential.
Point overall.
Yep. Overall point difference. So if we get to that three-way tie, that's what's applicable. If we get to a two-way tie, it's just head-to-head, and in that case, it'll be super easy in pretty much all cases. I don't think we won't have a scenario in either group with a two-way tie where two teams haven't played each other, so no problems there.
Yeah, I think in this case, it's gonna have to be at least like an 80, 90, 100 point win for Africa. Because yeah, Africa, it doesn't matter because of course Italy's point difference is like somewhere around plus 150 or so, and Africa's is like minus 70-ish. But yeah, Africa can just, since they're playing Italy, they don't have to score a ton of points because Italy will drop points as well, but it's still gonna have to be a fairly dominant win for Africa.
Yeah, I think it's gonna need to be. They put themselves in a pretty tough spot because of their loss to Mexico and the troll penalties that they accumulated. I think that minus 25 is like what's particularly damaging for what would otherwise be a fairly close war. It's like another minus 25 points on top of that. So pretty. A kind of a rough situation, but we'll have to wait and see until when they play today at, I believe, 8 p.m. UTC, and I think that is 4 p.m. Eastern time. That's when they'll be playing. I do believe they're one of the matches that will be off stream. We have a few more matches today on our stream, and the next one will be Finland-Ireland at 2 p.m. Eastern time.
Ooh, that's going to be good.
Which arguably the most exciting match of the day on paper, I think. And then we'll be wrapping up the stream with Ireland versus Swiss-Austria at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. So we'll have a bit of a break right now. We'll be off the air until that match at 2 p.m. Eastern, I believe. Unless production lets us know something different.
So hi, I'm on the stream. Hi everyone.
Heyo, Eric.
Yeah, really exciting stuff we just saw from these teams. We're gonna look into seeing if we can get like the Africa-Italy match delayed just a little bit longer. But for now, yeah, we're gonna be continuing with Finland-Ireland starting at 2 p.m. Eastern. The Eastern Europe and Spain match isn't gonna be happening at that time listed on stream anymore. So we'll be continuing back at 2 p.m. Eastern. So we'll be back in around an hour and a half or so. Maybe able to catch the tail end of the Italy-Africa match.
If you are okay, so real quick pointer before we leave. If you're Swiss-Aus here, you're gonna be a Finland fan because Ireland 2-0, Finland 3-0, Swiss-Aus 1-1. And if Ireland beat Finland in this case, then Swiss-Aus are going to be in like a real tough situation because Ireland will be 3-0, Finland will be 3-1, and essentially Swiss-Aus will be 2 games behind both teams. And Finland and Ireland are in the top 2 in the qualification, moving on. They're in the position to move on. So they would want Ireland to lose here so that they can hopefully pick up a win against Ireland in the next match after that and be tied with them. So they're going to be a Finland fan for sure.
That's awesome. There's such an exciting dynamics between all the teams. Something I appreciate about the World Cup format. You know, whether it be in Mario Kart or football or rugby, whatever sport that you may be watching, is that some countries end up cheering for other countries because of how it plays into their benefit. And I always think that's a really fun and interesting dynamic of the event. So with that said, we get to wrap up our morning cast. We will see you guys for the next match in just under a couple hours. Thanks for tuning in for this first match of the day. Very exciting one. And thank you, Jaggy, for casting.
No problem. It's a pleasure to cast for you guys.
All right. Well, we'll be hopping off the air now. We will see you guys in a little bit.
Peace.